right now so we can get started. I know we had to push it a little bit to give folks a chance. So we can get folks a little bit of a chance to make it here because there's some rush hour traffic midweek in there and all that stuff. So I know it's tough to make it here. So we truly appreciate you all being here tonight. So if no further ado, I would like to bring it on stage in here to get the night started. Georgia Brew, come on up, and Eric Badiwala. Let's give them a round of applause in here. Come on up. And this event is sponsored by ELS. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So, Georgia, thank you so much for coming up. Appreciate you. And where is my buddy Eric?
I think he ran away. I don't know.
I don't know, but I'll be here on the side. There he is. Eric, come on up. Let's give it up to Eric. Fantastic. And I'll pass it on to you, brother.
Nope. All right. Thank you, sir. How's everybody doing? Hanging in there? All right. Good stuff. Let me see what I'm doing here. All right, so you got myself. I'm George, CEO of Elevate Commercial Investment Group. You got my partner here, Eric. We're going to present the benefits of being vertically integrated. Going to do kind of a two-part here. I'm going to give you the benefits as far as if you are an operator, and then also if you're a passive investor. And yeah, so benefits of vertical integration. Myself, I guess I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I started investing in real estate about 17 years ago now. Eric and I decided to partner up, and we started doing single family back then. We did quite a bit of pretty much anything and everything you can think of when it comes to single family. Throughout that process, we really liked the fixer-uppers, and we decided to start a construction company to help scale that part of it. That was about 12 years ago. And then at some point, we decided that to really, I guess let me go back a little bit. We hit a brick wall as we started to scale the single family. It was just really hard to get that economy of scales. And we got introduced to multifamily apartments and the syndication world of things. Before that, I would look at a 100-unit apartment, and I'd be like, how can you buy that, right? That's going to be millions and millions. And I didn't realize that you could raise the equity from investors, and they can partner with you on that deal. So as soon as we figured that out, we spent about a year getting educated and really seeing that side of things because it's completely different from single family. That was about, say, 8 to 7 years ago. We went all in on the multifamily. Since then, we've acquired a little bit over 7,000 units. We've exited a little bit over 1,800 units. And we're going to continue to grow our portfolio. I'll let Eric tell you a little bit about himself.
Thanks. Well, it's funny because we almost have really the similar stories. I mean, I don't know if many people know this, but we have known each other since 7th grade. We grew up on the same street, same middle school, same high school, same college, same fraternity, same job out of college. And then we decided to be partners, and we've been partners for going on 18 years or whatever it is now. So it's been an incredible journey. A lot of lessons learned throughout both single-family and multifamily days, but it takes a team to get everything done and really grow and expand. Right, acquiring 7,000 units is no easy task. When we first started, it was just myself and George, and even saving money on airline tickets, we would drive to places and say, all right, well, Oklahoma's close, so let's go buy apartments there, and we can easily check on it, right? Or have things in our own backyard, right? Because we were thinking, DFW was very competitive at the time, and so we were looking at smaller cities within DFW, and then other markets like Oklahoma. So anyway, it's been an interesting journey, and glad to be here. But my job at Elevate is to make sure that the operations are moving forward. Right, there's so many different tasks that are involved in operating a property, whether it be asset management, raising equity, making sure people are hitting their goals, and just driving things. I mean, there's so many tasks on a day-to-day basis. So my job is to make sure that we're firing on all cylinders, making sure that CapEx is going, and all the dots are are dotted and all the T's are crossed. So it's definitely a lot of work, but we enjoy it. You want to go to the next one?
Yeah.
So this is our team that is comprised of Elevate. Obviously being vertically integrated, you got to have a ton of us to be able to get this done. Obviously, myself and George, we have another partner, Brian Wagers. He's actually in Arkansas. That was a great addition to our team as getting another partner, because now we were able to buy more deals and just have higher leverage with things that we do. And we have a footprint in Arkansas now. We got Nick Bowden, he's our underwriter and really a VP of acquisitions. Joel Fries is our director of asset management. We have Mina, who's our investor relations person. And then, down here really is Tessa and Mike. They are our partners in our management company, and we'll talk about that. We got Gianna, who is helps with everything admin and beautiful events like this. And then we got Luke, David, and Eric that are on the J&T construction side, which help us with all of our construction stuff. So it's a great team. Everyone's always doing 3 million things, but without the effort of everybody, we wouldn't be able to have the success that we have today. So it's a great team.
Yep. Yeah, I think you covered it on the team. What do we got next here? This is a great setup, by the way. Thank you, Neander and the team. All right, so vertical integration, right? Just to kind of paint the picture, we've got Elevate Commercial Investment Group. That's our real estate arm. Then we have the construction. J&T Construction does all of our in-house renovations. Equity Real Estate Management, so they manage the properties. And then we newly added an insurance company that now insures all our properties as well. And then they all just work in sync. We're able to move quickly. We're able to implement just things across the board, right? That if we were hiring these third-party companies, it would be a lot more difficult to do. Okay, so as far as, how are the cons first? Sorry, guys, I messed something up here. Okay. So benefits of vertical integration for operators. So if you're an owner-operator, what are the benefits that come with having the vertical integration? So first thing is the cost savings, right? You're able to reduce a lot of your expenses. You're able to control a lot of your expenses. This comes with the construction. I know Neander's going to go over some stuff as far as bulk buying materials, bulk and whatnot. So there's a lot of cost savings when you're able to get all of these aspects working together. As far as the quality consistency, I would say consistency, right? If you have control of all of these functions, then you're going to have a consistent product that you're putting out time and time again, which also helps, this last part here, as far as brand growth. So if you got the consistency, it's a lot easier to kind of build that brand. Flexibility. Look, it's real estate. You've got markets changing all the time. You got different real estate cycles. You've got to be able to adapt and be flexible. And being vertically integrated also helps you do that. If you've got to change your CapEx plan all of a sudden because things are just, you're not able to get the rent upgrades you thought you were going to be able to get, it's a lot easier to do it when it's your construction company versus maybe you've signed a contract with another contractor and you got to do all this other stuff. Data-driven, so you're able to collect a lot of data, right, from all of these different companies, and you're able to use that data to be able to do things better on the next deal or be able to act faster on certain things. You can get the whole team to collaborate, right? So I think it's second week of January, we're going to have our company meeting where all the companies get together. We collaborate, we talk about how we can do things better. It just makes for a great environment. Eric, if you got any feedback, stop me at any time. But speaking of feedback, so a feedback loop, right? So same thing as collaboration in a sense, right? We're able to give each other feedback on how, let's say, somebody from the construction company sees something that maybe can be done better on the management side of things. Maybe maintenance isn't taking care of something, and somebody from the construction team got word from the tenants. We always keep that line of communication open, and everybody's willing to take that feedback.
Yeah, my favorite part really about being vertically integrated is everyone's bought into the same goal, right? When you have, we recently opened up our management company about a year and a half ago, and we manage currently about 3,000 units within that management company, and a lot of it is our own assets, and then we're starting to take on third party now. But I mean, the difference that we've seen from having our own management company to hiring a third party has just been night and day, right? These third-party management companies, there's no skin in the game. They don't really care. It's a fee-based business. They come in, get out, and they clock out at 5, and they're done. Now everybody's bought into the same goal, and we're all trying to grow together, right? And it's the same thing. Everybody's working on, our management company is working on elevate deals, and it just helps buy-in from the team. And there's just more, a better care of your assets, right? Which is ultimately what what it's all about, right? When we take investor money, that's the most important thing, and we want to make sure we take good care of that, whatever it may be. So, for us, I think that's been a huge thing. And then even with the construction company as well, the construction company, it's like imagining hiring a contractor who's doing, all different types of projects. Maybe he was doing multifamily, maybe he's doing office, maybe he's doing single family, right? J&T Construction is concentrated solely on multifamily, right? Their expertise is multifamily, right? So that really helps in going a long way. And then also, again, just being bought in as a team, right? We're all working together. We're all on the same meetings. We're familiar with each other. It just helps tremendously, instead of getting these third parties and, they have a zillion things going on. Not that, these two companies don't, but there's just better alignment. And, it's really made the world a difference for us. And we love it. I mean, we love working with people that are all vested in the same goals and trying to grow. So just my 2 cents there, but it's been a great experience for us.
Yeah, I think I talked a little bit already on the brand growth. Just helps establish that brand and consistency. So those are the benefits, right? But I'm not saying that anybody that owns, or any syndicator or anybody that owns multifamily needs to be vertically integrated. I mean, there are some cons. So there could be some upfront cost, right? I know the management company, Eric and I had to front a lot of that money in the capital to get it going and get it established, the team, the processes. Usually, if anybody started a company in the beginning, overhead, until you've established a good amount of cash flow coming in, that overhead can eat you alive if you're not doing it right. And then you got to be able to build out a team, right? You got to have a workforce. That team we showed you there, I mean, those are just the key personnel, right? We're up to close to 70 employees at this point, I think, between the three companies. So you got to be really good at recruiting, hiring, training, and ultimately firing if need be, right? And honestly, to me, that's probably the hardest part of growing a company. Looking back at the 17 years and the companies that I have built, nobody ever told me you were that part of it. And I would suggest to get really good at that if this is what you want to follow and you want to be vertically integrated, or you want to grow any company, really. You got to find that key personnel too, right? You got to find those, whether they're going to be business partners, which we have made some of these business partners, or just key personnel that are going to really be vested in the company and help you grow it. And then as far as a higher risk to the operator, you're going to have more companies. You're going to have more employees. With all of that comes more risk, right, to the actual operator. So some things to keep in mind. Like I said, it's not for everybody. But if your ultimate goal is to really scale and become a leader in the multifamily investments space, I think you almost have to. We'll take third party, like Eric mentioned. We'll do third party management for you. We'll do third party construction for you. But at some point, if your goals is to be at 10,000 plus units or whatever it is, you're probably going to have to be vertically integrated.
Yeah, and I think for us, one of the reasons we wanted to become vertically integrated is, look, in this business, in the multifamily space, it's all about deals and money, right? Deals and equity and putting those two together. And, a lot of, institutional companies or firms, they look for this stuff, right? Do these guys have control of do they have a grip, do they have a grip of what they're doing, right? Or is it just all over the place? Are they just spread so thin everywhere, right? So I think that was a huge thing for us, and now we've been able to attract that type of capital, and maybe not so much yet, but people are seeing that, right? And they see the vertical integration that we can just execute better, and that's ultimately what it comes down to: execution. If you can't execute in this business, I mean, you're pretty much dead in the water. I mean, you have to be able to execute, but and then as far as the con, look, all this stuff could bring on more risk and more stress. But you know what? It's a different type of stress because now you have better control of your deals are operating better, they're running smoother, right? You may have more responsibility with more employees and just more things that you have to knock out, but ultimately at the end of the day, the risk, the reward outweighs the risk. So that's all I got there.
Yeah. So now as far as an investor, right, what are the benefits of investing with a multifamily syndicator that is vertically integrated versus one that is not? I know I mentioned cost savings with the operator. Obviously, that transfers over to the investor side as well. If the operator is able to get things done cheaper, then the returns should be higher for their investors. Improved accountability. So, sorry, I didn't look at this beforehand. Clients have 1.8. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, if you're vertically integrated, you have a larger team, most likely, right? You're able to give the investor more attention, or you as an investor are able to get more attention from that company, and the communication should be better, right? Time is money in multifamily, so the faster we can get stuff done. Eric mentioned the execution. The faster we can execute things, that's more money in the pocket to the operator, but also the investors. The better we execute, the better the quality, the consistency of what we're delivering, the better we can add value to the property, right? The quicker we can add value to the property, which also translates over to our investors. And then just knowing that they're going to be there, right? If, like I mentioned, we've got 70-something employees, we're not going to disappear from one day to the next, which I can't say the same to some others that are maybe don't have a team and are trying to just piece these syndications together. It's a little different when you've got an established companies running your deal. Anything to add there, Eric?
Just a simple, experience share. One of the biggest things I noticed was, especially on the management side, you would switch third-party property management, and sure, things get maybe a little bit better, and just because maybe it's fresh, right? But then they start going sideways again, or downhill, or just, it's a lot of the same. But when we started, getting in our company and having people that actually care about, the residents and, what's going on and buying into the plan, the Google reviews start coming in. Oh my God, the management company really cares. They're fulfilling my maintenance requests. Like, these are the standard things that we're supposed to be doing, and the third-party management company can't get it done. So that's something that I noticed right off the bat, and I look for these little things, right? What are the difference makers, right? It's like, how did you make somebody feel that day, right? And if you can do that, and if you can, ultimately our job is to make our residents happy and provide a high quality of life for them. But if we can provide that and elevate their life, at some point in the process, then we're doing a good job. So, I think, I personally get joy out of seeing these, small wins, basically, because ultimately it's going to lead to a big win, once we sell, 3-5 years down the line and implement our business plan. So, it's pretty cool seeing this stuff when you haven't seen this, maybe going out to third party. And like George said, it's not that you can't be successful doing it, it's just a little bit more difficult, right? And you have to micromanage a little bit more. I can't tell you how much micromanaging we've done. Holy cow. It's like, can you just do your job? I mean, we're hiring you, we're paying you a fee, you should be able to execute, but I got to be on you like, a 3-year-old child, which doesn't make sense.
So, I mean, that's it. I know it's very high level. We could have obviously gone more granular on some of that stuff. If you guys have any other questions or more detailed questions about what we went over, reach out to us. You've got all our information there. If you want the slides, you can email Gianna. Her email's down there. We can also send you some other free content. I don't know, do you guys want to take questions now, or do you want to wait till after? Okay. So you want to come back up? Yeah? All right.
Let's give it up to George and Eric. Fantastic. Thank you, brother. So, keep it quick. How many of you learned something new? Put your hand up in the air. That's what it's all about. So, these types of events are for you. So, I forgot to introduce myself. Pardon me. My name is Italo Martins. I'm the Investor Relations of Multifamily Empire. And again, I appreciate y'all for being here. With no further ado, I would like to bring on stage the CEO of the Empire Group, Neander Lima. Let's give it up.
Check, check.
And just one thing before he gets going, stick around because we're going to be doing Q&A at the end. So write down your questions. Don't forget them as they're fresh in your mind.
Can I ask questions too? Man, I had some questions.
Perhaps.
I love the aspect of vertical and grid. Hello, guys. I have a 5-year-old. She's just completed 6. So I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and 2 little girls. It's all about princesses in my house, right? They're all over the place. But on Mother's Day, they went and did a project in school. They cannot read and write yet. They're learning. And then they ask them, okay, so we're going to ask a few questions about your mom so we can do this beautiful card. And then they goes, okay, so what's your mom's hair color? And she's like, black. What is your mom's eye color? It's black. And what is your mom's favorite food? And she goes, leftovers. And then it continues. Then she's like, okay, what is your mom's favorite restaurant? She said Costco. So apparently, Daddy, you're a very cheap date. I love you. So that was super funny. And along with Costco, I want to talk about this a little bit. How many of you are single today? Single? Yes. So when you're single, you have this way of doing groceries, right, on your own terms. You need to buy a lot of stuff. You just buy what you need. You know what I mean? Daddy hates this about me, but I used to buy. They already, when you buy this little plastic container, they already peeled this stuff off for you. All you got to do is just put it on the pan. And that's what I used to do. I'd go to a grocery store that I could walk. I used to live in Uptown. I'd just go in, walk, get my stuff. I didn't even call it groceries, just whatever I was going to cook. But then you get married. And then what happened? You get married, now you had to combine different, I drink 2% milk. Oh, you're whole milk. Like, you start adjusting. And then your groceries list to start becoming a little bit bigger. You start buying more stuff. And then when you have kids, it's over, man. Then you got to go to Costco. That's why we go to Costco a lot, because we needed to buy in bulk. We needed to buy stuff. And this is what I'm going to talk to you today. Is I'm going to show you how is the advantages on the multifamily sector. How can you buy, and thank you, Italo, how can you buy in bulk? How that looks like as an investment. We are looking to save, right? My name is Neander Lima. I'm the CEO of Empire Group. I've loved to have you guys here. I'm very thankful to be partnered up with George Abreu and the folks, and I'm very happy to have you guys here in our headquarters. And I was in an event that I met George a month ago, and then I heard something that was very interesting. It said that collaboration is the new currency. So when you collaborate with people, when you gather forces, you'll be able to do something a lot faster, right? And this is all about this multifamily it's about. So how many of you guys are in multifamily already? Yes, invest in some shape or form. How many of you would like to get in multifamily? Gotcha, cool. All right. So one of the first things let's talk about underwriting real quick. You know, I know, Sean, you're my numbers guy. I know you love numbers. Here's Sean. I know he's a friend of mine. And Delia, she's super. Who's an Elevate is the numbers guy? Is that you? I was. Yeah. You was. At one point, it was you. That's definitely not me, man. I'm not the underwriting guy. But I love to see the results of data. You know, and I push my team a lot. I was like, I'm not the super number guys. Like Delia, she can see already numbers like matrix. For me, like, just give me the final number and I'll be cool with that. You know, but it's very interesting. So here, on a 5-year plan, usually when we're underwriting a property, we get project for 5 years hold. We buy the property, hold it for 3 to 5 years. Usually, there's a lot of other ways. There's people that hold longer or less. But I was just going to use an example today of a 5-year hold, okay? And things that you put consideration in underwriting. That's going to be a rent growth. That's usually a rule of thumb, a 4%. This is like a back of the napkin kind of thing. Taxes, 10%. Insurance, 10%. Even though insurance now, I heard you guys talking about insurance, man. It's crazy. It's 10% average that we used to, but the past 2 years, it just went nuts. It's a lot more than that. Economic vacancy, 8%. But CapEx, we have a final number. But one thing that we find out, that when we're doing CapEx budgets, we budget for that year that we budget in. So if you're going to hold that property all the way to year 5, how much of that cost of goods, of, for example, appliances, lumber, material, labor, it's going to be like in a few years? So today we're going to talk about this. How can we project this, but the benefit of buying in bulk or buying directly from manufacturer? Okay, this is skipping too fast. It's faster than my brain. There you go. So here's a technical, like a budget that we got from an old deal of us. The total was like a $3.some million CapEx renovation. This is the interior renovation, how much it's a little bit more pricey here because we have some heavy-duty renovations. We had to do wash and dry connections. But this is the interior, like how it looks like. So we have roof, carpentry, foundation, plumbing, hot water, HVAC. So this is all the kind of the breakdown costs in here. But something happens with inflation. We all know. Prices go up. Things go up in inflation. Okay? I'm having a hard time with my clicker. So a few examples of things that just went up super high. So look at the price of lumber, guys. For the past 24 months, it went 42.5% in lumber alone, okay? Steel, last 24%, it went 49%. Oxy fluctuated right now is actually that's cheaper. But just for you to put in comparison, okay? The gypsum, I don't even know what this is for. I'm not a construction guy, man. But this is sheetrock, right? Sheetrock. the construction guys probably look at me, what an idiot. All right, so gypsum is the sheetrock. I knew that. And it went up to 18%, almost 18%. And here's going to be a kitchen model, okay? A renovation of kitchen. In 2022, somebody that in the house and you budgeting, honey, we got to renovate our kitchen. Let's put some money aside. And then took them 2 years to actually pull the trigger. Now, the same kitchen that you plan and budget is going to be at $26,000. That is a 30% increase. How about a bathroom? Same thing. Average bathroom for $15,000, about $18,500. That is a 23% increase. Okay, so what is the benefit of buying in bulk? How can you save? Okay, another case study here we're going to do, buying in bulk. Let's use it as a floor, as a case study, okay? Buying directly from the manufacturer. Before we used to buy in bulk, when we were just starting doing renovations, we had only 2 properties at the time. We started doing renovations. I was paying $1.50 per square foot on the floor. That is just parts, not labor. We have our own guys that will install it, but we were buying at the $1.15. So if you had a basic math here of a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, 1,000 square feet, okay? So that's how much we're spending for a 1,000 square foot, all right? And if you, let's say that it would be a property that's at 236 units, and then we're going to come in and renovate out of just 236, 168. That's a total of 195K. Now, I'm going to show you how it is to buy directly from the manufacturer in bulk. So our price, buying direct from the manufacturer, is 80 cents. I'm talking about shipped here in my warehouse. 80 cents per square foot is a big difference. So the same math, 170, so they're here, 136K, which here is a saving of, and we lost connection. Yitro, can you help me? I was going very well with the numbers, man. I was proud of myself, you know. I was like, man, let's go. And then the others being this mathematics. I should actually have my glasses so I can look a little bit more smart. But it's a big difference, though. That is the price that we have now. We can get, depends on the amount you have, quantity you buy, obviously it's going to be a cheaper price. So as we scale, as we grow, and we pull more people to buy together with us, we can bring the cost out significant, right? Because, and this is a part later, if you guys want to chat about it, I know we'll let you know what is the actual cost if you buy, and what's the bulk price. No?
Close the NDI and open it again. Yeah, you're back up. You're back up. But you need to do the actual screen because it's showing a shit ton of screens in there.
Okay, so hold on. There we go. I should put my glasses and come in as a different person now, so you guys think it was another guy. Okay, so here's the savings, right? 6K difference. If you combine all the apartments, that's 35% of savings. Okay, I challenge you, if you're the numbers guy, the underwriting, if you put this amount of 35% savings on your CapEx because you're buying directly from manufacturer, that's going to be a huge number on your gains, I guarantee. Okay. This is the average cost of now, and that case that I presented to you guys was just on flooring. Now I'm going to show a little bit how is the whole apartment. This is just a basic make ready. It's not even complicated, just a basic stuff. So let's say flooring, 2 ceiling fans, 2 bathroom faucets, light bulbs, doorknobs, all the typical basic make ready, right? The total price here is usually around $27 if you buy retail. If you go to Chadswell, Home Depot, Lowe's, and there's other vendors as well, there's going to be this price. And if you go, what are we paying today? Come on. Average cost, this is how much we pay by buying in bulk manufacturer. Okay? That is another 30%, another 822, 30% savings. Now, let's talk about this. That we might be asking, Neander, how can I buy directly from China? And we have the same question. Today, we buy directly from manufacturing in China. So I partnered up with my business partner, Tomas is on the back. Raise your hand, Tomas. He is our guy, lived 15 years in China, had huge operations of facilitating this to U.S. and Brazil. We partnered up here for ELS, which is Empire Living Solution. We developed our own brand. And then we were able to buy even products cheaper than what I presented to you. And how can I do this myself? So my first thought when I started this, I went to Alibaba, right? Which you think, man, I'm going to find this stuff. So I did it for you. So I put kitchen faucet, $8, $9. But this is, trust me, guys, is not true. Is it true, Tomas? It is not true. But think about it. If you buy 300 faucets, you put it into your multifamily apartment, what about you have a leak? Who are you going to complain to if you claim yourself as now is your product, right? So it requires a lot of trust and a lot of vetting good prices, and I'm sure that you guys would understand. Another way you could do it is you can go to Shanghai, and it's a Shanghai. What is the Tomas? What's the name of the fair? Canton Fair. So Canton Fair, you can go there. They have it's actually a 2 times a year event. You can go there, find a broker, find a manufacturer, but still you need a vet. It's the same thing if you go to a store. And how are you going to trust that company? You need to create the track record. So you need an expert. You need a reputable manufacturer, quality control, customs paperwork, transportation, packaging, and labeling. It's not that complication. It's not that easy, what I meant. And how this is a little bit of testings that we do. Tomas and his facility there in China doesn't do it, all the vetting. They do this tremendous amount of testing. It's pages and pages. They get a smoke detector and they start testing everything. So they do all the way from open boxes to, and this is a little bit of video I want to share with you here on how do we do our, if I get this thing to work. Yeah, leave that door open maybe a little. Maybe you'll pick up better. It didn't play the video, but you guys understand that it's very complex way of doing. Okay, this is, guys, how you grant access to our list. If you're an operator, and if you work at a construction, if you own multifamily, you like to have access to a price list, you can just scan this QR code, put your name in there, and then you'll be access to see all of our database, the material that we have and sell today. And if you decided to go, hey, Neander, I want to buy in bulk too, we can help you. Tomas and I will sit down with you and share your goals. We need to take a look at what is your volume to make sure it's a good business plan for you, because you have to worry a little bit about storage and delivering all this little inventory system, which is not that easy. But if you have enough volume, I believe you can do this. You're going to save a lot of money, especially if you have, like George and, and you guys will be able to save a bunch of buying in bulk. So we can help you either way. If you're just looking to plan your next renovation, we can help as well. But if you want to put your own brand, make your own brand, go directly to manufacturers, we can help you there too. So if you scan that QR code, you'll be able to get in touch with that. Gonna give you a moment to take a picture of that real quick. All right, let's keep going. So what is the outlook for 2025 with all this? One thing I tell you for sure, we have at least certainty what is our outlook is going to be like. And it's just like flying a plane, right? Flying a plane, like you need some instruments. Maybe you don't know where you're at, but you have to learn learn your instruments, how to navigate. I was in Belize with Delia and I. We were in Belize this weekend, and it rained the entire time. And from Belize City to the place that we're at, we had to get this small plane. And I have a picture here, but it's not playing. But she's piloting this little plane because the pilot asked her to sit next to her to save was a 6-passenger plane. And Delia's sitting down next to her. Sean was there too with us on this mastermind event. And he took off, went up on the clouds. I couldn't see anything in this heavy rain, and this little plane was shaking. But the guy was just very calm. He was very calm. He was just flying his plane, like doing his thing. And then Delia was sitting next to him. So I took a picture. It's like Delia's flying this plane. Oh my gosh, what a disaster. But we landed. The guy was just trusting on his instruments. So when it comes to multifamily, what's come for next year, 2025, obviously, I don't care what political, I'm not going to talk about who voted for who and who is the right or wrong, but at least we have certainty. And if you're here because we are in the multifamily sector, and I'm sorry, but there is a benefit of the political party that won that's going to be great for the multifamily sector. The guy owned businesses too. And a lot of us are here, we're investors and stuff. And I'm not going to get in touch with that, but at least we have certainty. This year, as we're capital raising for one of our deals, I have a lot of investors calling me, Neander, I'm not going to move any money until the election. And I was like, why, man? It doesn't matter. I have a different belief system. It's like, no matter who is going to win, we're going to pivot. Doesn't matter who wins, man, because I feel like we don't have much control, but I have control what's in my hands. I have control, what comes to me, and you have to pivot. Okay. Right now, I believe that we're in a huge market correction, because if you pick up 2 years ago, the price was nuts. It was the price per door, and I paid those price per door for a property that I bought 2 years ago, and it's like, what the hell I was thinking? Right? It is working, it's performing, but if you compare prices to now, so I feel like we are in a market adjustment. We are keeping an adjustment to a correction, I would say, okay? A lot of buying opportunities. How many of you buy or invest this year? Yes, but a lot of people didn't because they're sitting on the sidelines. And if you ask me, Neander, is this a good time to invest? Absolutely, it is. And what's the second best time? Is today, tomorrow. Let's go. Exactly. Now, one of the things that I want to emphasize, that I was listening you guys talk at the Elevate group, it's the integration, vertical integration, and this is what makes operators surviving nowadays. People that are in touch with your operations, people that are being conservative, people that are pivoting, taking care of the community, number one, because that's my philosophy. I believe that if you take care of the community takes care of the property takes care of the investors, in that particular order. And by being vertically integrated, I know the challenges is not easy because there's nobody else to blame but ourselves if the things doesn't go right. But just like I mentioned earlier that we're the pilots of the plane, we carry all this, and I'm flying through the instrument. I'm being careful to be preserved and to take care of all my passengers, but also I don't want to lose my life. And yet, all those deals that we invest in, we're putting our own money into it. I do have my own family's money into it. My sisters, my friends. So we don't want to lose our investors' money. But I believe that we have to be conservative in certain ways and be in touch with operations by watching cost, by finding different angles, by pivoting, by buying in bulk, by doing your own stuff, by being in touch with the operations. And I think that's what is going to thrive. Okay? And buying in bulk, there is something that I have epiphany is about building teams. Okay? I've been really immersed very deeply in this. How can I build strong teams? How can I surround myself with folks such as yourselves, such as the Elevate group, such as other investors? It's to go bigger and faster. Like I said earlier, the currency today is by collaboration. And sometimes doing ourselves, we want to do everything ourselves, we want to control everything, might not be the best thing for you. Early this year, we wanted to get a house cleaner for a house. But my wife, Delia, she's very picky about her clothes. She's like, no, I don't want her to touch my stuff. I would do it myself. We'll come on a weekend and we'd take a day. And I was like, I hate it. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to clean my house. Screw this shit. I work so hard, but she's very particular about her stuff. But then she took a leap of faith. I was like, what, let's hire a person. And she comes every Monday. Monday is the best day for me to get home because it's all clean, organized. The words it's clean. Oh my God, what I was thinking. And she realizes too, it's like, man, this is the best thing that happened to us. Instead of us doing ourselves, we got professionals, people that will do this for a living to help us out so we can do other stuff. That's how we grow. I read this book, and I was in a podcast the other day. Somebody asked me, Neander, what is, if you can say something, one thing that, what is your secret to your success? What was one thing that you had to say? And I say this, I read this book called Who Not How. Okay? This book really impacted our Empire group. We are 6 companies here in this building, owned by the Empire group. And my focus today, I already learned how to buy apartments. I already know how to. I already have a team. But what I'm focusing every day is how to be a better CEO, how to be a team builder. How can I build teams? How to get my team to be stronger, be united, collaborate with people such as yourselves, such as Elevate Group. How can we build stronger communities so we can do bigger things? You know, and I like with this. Success is not about doing everything yourself. It's about surrounding yourself with people whose talents complement your vision. If you have a vision, any idea, anything you want to do, like Grant Cardone saying, who has my money? Right? It's not about that, but it's like, who can help you to achieve that? It's always going to be somebody. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. We're going to have a quick Q&A that you can ask questions about vertical integration with George, and how to get invested in apartments, and how to buy directly from overseas. What's the cost? What's the whatever? So thank you very much. One of the chairs, yeah.
Perfect. How many of y'all learned something new from this one? That's fantastic. Let's give it up to Leandro Lima one more time.
Thank you.
Let's also give it up to the guys from Elevate, Eric and Georgia Brewing there. So now this is the time. This is the time that they're going to be answering your questions, answering anything you want to learn from these guys. So please make sure you ask questions. You don't leave here thinking, man, I should have asked them that, you know? Even you can ask Neander how to fix a PowerPoint because, you know, on the fly, that's not easy, you know? Sometimes we freak out. But right now, we're going to have, say what? Let's do 2 and 2, yeah. Let's do 2 and 2 here. And after the Q&A, you're more than welcome to hang out, network a little more, talk to Tomas in there. I don't know if any of you know how to speak Chinese in here. You can test him out because I never heard him speaking Chinese, but I want to see that in live.
Come on, dude. I want to invite on the stage Tomas Mello. He's one of our partners of ELS, Empire Living Solution. Let's give it up for Tomas Mello.
Yeah. All right. So, Eric, let me give you this one, and I'm going to get another one for
All right, guys, so ask anything, or either multifamily, what is the challenges about being vertically integrated, challenges about construction. I know it's a hot one as well, so fire away.
They're really on the spot now because we're sitting down.
Yeah. The question is, how do you find the properties to invest in? Go ahead.
First things first is we look at the different markets that we want to be in. We look at a lot of data, right? Population growth, job growth, other things that are happening in those markets. Once we've kind of pinpointed the certain markets we want to be in, we find the brokers that are doing the most deals in that market. We start to build a relationship with them, let them know what we're looking for. Then they start sending us deals. We analyze them, and we go from there. You know, we start making offers.
Oh, so you don't really go out and look bird dog. You let people send you the properties you find or you invest in?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking specifically in the market that you're in, you could always drive around and try to find some apartments. From there, you're going to have to do some digging to find the actual owner. Now, I'm assuming you're talking about large apartments, which is mainly what we do. You know, with the smaller apartments, I could see the bird dogging working and being a little more effective. With these larger ones, it's a little tougher to get in front of the actual owner. So that's where the brokers kind of help with that.
So I was told to look at LoopNet or other sites like that. So, but what I've found is that I didn't really find the deals there. So it's kind of hard.
You're not going to find a good deal on LoopNet.
No.
LoopNet is going to go more for commercial properties, like some lands, like this building I found on LoopNet. This was existing building, but multifamily, for a good one, yes. So first thing is you identify who the brokers are on that pocket or that city that you're looking for, okay? And let's say there's Dallas. Find your niche, and then you're gonna see who's the top 5, 10 brokers that control that inventory. Get to the distro, sign into the website. It's free. You know what I mean? And that way they send you. You sign a little bit of a confidentiality agreement that you're not gonna do anything with those offer memorandums, but that's how you start. And then you start. I get deals at least every day, don't you guys? Yeah, well, more than that.
Yeah.
I would say LoopNet is kind of equivalent to Craigslist
Yeah.
in the multifamily
good-
space. People kind of don't, talk good about it. But I will tell you, we did lose out on one deal when we first started that we should have bought. It was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and some guy was desperate, and we were just kind of new, and we weren't great at raising equity, and somebody else bought it, and they did great on it. So there are deals on there, but it's like Craigslist, so you're gonna have to really search.
I guess this can go towards anybody. On the multifamily deals, from what I've run into, like the first deal that you did where you raised capital, I understand you have to have like a balance sheet or somebody to sponsor the deal. Okay, did y'all have the balance sheet to sponsor your own deals, or are there companies that sponsor deals that you can go out to?
Yeah, look, it's a team game. I think Neander kind of started his presentation with that. Even if you have the balance sheet, they're still going to want to see the experience that you've actually owned and managed properties that are equivalent to that. So you really do have to find somebody to partner with. That's what we did, right? Our first, 2 deals, we weren't the main deal sponsor. We had somebody that came in that had done some deals before. And then we built up that track record where then we started being the main deal sponsor. So going to events like this is a great way to find those partners. We're always willing to partner with others. I don't know if you're the same.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So y'all sponsor deals if it makes sense.
to a certain extent, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, everybody does it a little different. We're not just going to literally sign on the loan. I mean, we're going to want to be pretty involved, which you should want us to be involved, right? And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I can just piggyback on that one real quick, if you're gonna go put a agency financing on it, which is Fannie or Freddie, it's gonna count 2 things. It's gonna be the net worth and liquidity, and your track record experience. So that needs to be aligned for what is the size property you're gonna get or the debt you're gonna acquire. When it comes to sponsorship, you find people that is going to be KPs, called key principles, that they're used. So collectively, let's say our net worth needs to be $20 million. So if I'm at 10, you're 5, and somebody's 2, or 2 gets to that. So that cool, you pull together to sponsor this deal. But the track record is a big deal too. So what you can't do is be a KP in somebody else's deal. Say, hey guys, can you put me on the loan? And I'm just going to watch. I'm going to learn a bunch of stuff. That, as being a GP now in this deal, you're gaining your track record. You're acquiring track record that whenever you're ready to buy your own on your own, that you can do that.
Make sure
Okay.
you vet them out, though, because
Yeah.
if you sign on that loan, even if it's non-recourse, it's going to mess you up.
Well, now you're creating more questions, but I don't want to take the microphone the whole time. But the key principle thing, I mean, is there 1%, 5% equity just for putting your name on a loan? I mean, is there,
Sometimes people don't give you nothing, man,
just to learn.
just to learn.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, anybody that has enough net worth to sign on a loan, if they've ever talked to their CPA or their legal counsel, they're going to tell them, don't sign on a loan unless you have some kind of voting rights in the deal. So you're going to have a percentage of the GP. It's like everything else in business, it's negotiable.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot of different ways to negotiate this partnership, man. But aside from everything we just said, the most easy is like partner up with somebody and say, how can I add value to your team? Yeah. And you come in to your first deal at least to watch.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny, I had this conversation at trying to figure out what the heck value do I have. I get that. And, you know,
You have a lot of value, Sean.
yeah, you've got to, you've got to be open to, I guarantee you, there's something you do better than anybody else in this room. And, it maybe it's something you love to do, maybe it's something you just have a gift at doing. Figure out what that is. I can't tell you. But then you have to take that and go, okay, well now, how can I apply that to help somebody in their business?
Yeah. Next question.
And then the CapEx, whenever you find a deal and, issue an LOI and all that, what's do you give yourself, or do sellers typically give 6 months runway to do all your CapEx or 3 months to close? I mean, what's standard there? Because that's when you're doing all the work, is before you close, right? Getting all the budgets and everything in place.
I don't understand your question. Like you're asking how.
Like you make an offer on an apartment, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But typically you have, I've bought commercial property, I've never bought an apartment. You have 90 days to close.
Mm-hmm.
Is that when you start putting your budgets together for contractors and remodels and all that?
Yeah, 100%. Like you're gonna see the vintage of the property, and then you go do a drive-by, kind of look at it, peek at it. If you have a relationship with the broker, there are deals that I was just even put an offer and say, hey, can I go up on the roof and take a look? Right? They say yes. You go to walk the property, you can kind of visually see a few things, but whenever you get in a contract, you have, depending, the 90 days, or there's different contracts for everything, but you have due diligence, which you walk every single unit, you get people on the roof, you get people on the foundation, you get, personnel everywhere to really pull out the rug and see what you're dealing with there. Then, by then, if you find something major, you could potentially negotiate or back out.
Okay. And you've seen 6 months to close. Is that have you?
6 months?
Is that a lot?
That's a lot.
That's,
Yeah.
that's too much, yeah. It's 90 days, like you said, is
Standard.
more standard.
60 to 90 days is pretty standard. Okay. But our last deal, it took us 8 months
Okay.
and 7 contract amendments.
Yeah, you've got those happen every once in a while too, but.
There's never a cookie cutter thing. It's every deal is a deal.
But for instance, you're familiar with our newest deal, Camden, right? We're going to be
Yep.
closing in a few weeks. We've been meeting on a weekly basis, finalizing that scope. Starting day one, we're going to be there, changing out the signage, doing something to the amenities, adding yards. Like, our entire scope is going to begin that day one. So you got to put in that work before you close.
Yep. Yeah, it's because the clock starts ticking and that
Yeah.
debt payment's due. So, and then the last question, the property management, just because I don't know, I've never really wanted to be in property management, to be honest. But those people that you listed on your company, did you give them profit share or equity in the property management company? So that's like, you know,
Yeah. So we didn't want to be in property management either.
Okay.
I don't think nobody
I don't know
does
if
in the
anybody does.
beginning.
Well, I guess we found two people that do. We made them partners because we knew we didn't want to spread ourselves too thin, and we knew if we brought them in as partners, they were really going to own it. I'm not saying it has to be that way. I mean, we could have done maybe a profit share or just found somebody that was really motivated to do it, but that's what we decided to do.
cool. Thank you.
Yeah, they were the operators basically, and then we're operating our multifamily business, and they're operating that. But we bring ideas, we bring funding, we bring all of our properties, right? So we add a lot of value just in different ways, but they run the day to day.
All right. Who's next?
If I was
It's on. Just speak closer.
to find a deal and bring it to you and get a commission, could I put that back into the deal and work it with you?
I guess, are you a broker?
I could be.
That's the best answer I've ever heard.
Yeah, good answer.
I would forget about the commission. What you could do is get equity in the deal, which
I
could
like
be
that.
more than that commission.
Oh, most definitely.
For bringing us a deal.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. I would be down with that. Okay. I just wanted to know.
And guys, when you partner on those deals, it's not like flash dating. You know what I mean? This is a long-term relationship. You know what I'm saying? And when we talk about partnership, and we all here in this room that it's being syndicated, we all have partnered with other people, but it's a long-term thing. You have to be very well aligned what your core values, your principles, your vision. You need to often talk also about what is a sunny day and a rainy day. How does that look like? If your deals go south, who's going to put money in? Right? There's one of our deals that we went through, we had some incidents there of that happened. We have to put our own money to without bringing it out to our investors. And that's where it really speaks about who's the GPs.
Yeah, so somebody just asked before we started, my thoughts about this, not bringing any money to a deal and still being able to close it and syndicate it and all that. And my response to that was, what's going to happen if things go wrong? Who's going to actually put the money in the deal?
Yeah.
That person that came with no money is probably not going to. So, yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, we actually had a partner like that they brought the deal to us. They didn't bring any money, and when it came time to put up money, they're no longer involved anymore. So, skin in the game always helps for sure. But that is a good point, Neandra, because, man, these syndication deals, if this isn't a little single-family house flip that you can be out in 6 months, hey, let's partner and see you later 6 months later. These are 3 to 5 year holds, right? So this is a small marriage, and I saw a lot of single people in the room. I'm recently married. A marriage is a commitment, man. Like, you just can't be like, all right, peace. Like, I'm not doing this. I'm not holding my end of the bargain, this time, right? Because at the end of the day, that's going to be a reflection of you as a partner and your reliability. And, I was just talking about this with Jimmy back there, and it's like, man, especially in today's environment with multifamily, there's a lot of challenges. And if you're going to be running for the exits, you're probably not going to be a good partner.
Yeah. And no one is saying a wedding is like for better or worse.
100%, man, 100%.
That's it. It will be.
Yeah, real estate markets go up and down, so you got to be ready.
Next question.
So, Neander, Thomas, you talked earlier a lot about the cost savings of buying bulk. But when you're working with George on a project, how impactful is the time savings working together on a project, whether it's a new construction or renovation?
I can hear the question.
How impactful is the time savings when working together with George on a project, when working through you and buying?
How would it be the savings by working with
I think just how important is the time savings in general? Like if you're
Yes,
working
or
with
how much time do you save doing it that way?
time? Well, there's something I didn't talk about, but have consistency by buying in bulk, right? Consistency is a big deal. I've been into apartments that every single unit looked different. They had a different backsplash, a different appliance, and a different flooring. You know what I mean? And it takes a little bit of the value, in my opinion. So by buying directly, from manufacturer, it's just like you have that consistency all across your renovations. And, George has a construction company, and I have a construction company. It's my name behind that. When the next buyer bought to say, there's a group that I bought a property from. I don't know if you guys heard of it, but they're Madeira Residential from Charlie Young's. They're a friend of mine. I bought a property from him. Whenever you hear that name Madeira, you buy a property from the guy, there's legit. That the guy didn't cut corners, did everything that he is in his power to make that deal to perform and to look as a standard as possible. And this is what we wanted to do. Tomas and I were very aligned with that. It's like, this is our product line. We tested it for over a year before we even started it. There's the vinyl floor that we have. We tried a bunch. And we found this is a scratch resistance because we do have a C-class apartment out the way in West Fort Worth. With all due respect, but sometimes it feels like animals lived in there for about a year. And it was beautiful.
They have pets also. Right?
Yeah, they have pets, and they scratch and stuff, and it's like, oh my God. And it goes both ways. They also have people, I love that community. There's a lot of people that care and live there, proud to live there, but there's people that just don't care. So it had to be resistant enough to be able to. So, answer to your question, if I understood correctly, I apologize if I didn't. If it saves time by having, you don't have to wait on inventory. I don't have to wait for inventory of others. I control my inventory. So that definitely is faster. I have also, what's Eduardo? He's sitting right there. He's our manager, of our warehouse manager. I call him and it's like next day, if an order comes in before, I think it's 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, next day is delivered. So
2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, yeah.
So, Neander, basically what he's trying to say from the two of you is, how does that impact your business just by having the ability of getting the materials that fast? Let's say George is doing a project right now. He comes and get the products from ELS from you, for example. How does that positively impact you by just having the benefit of getting those products right away?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what type of deal you're doing. If you're in a bridge loan, how big of a value add. But in general, your apartment is sitting there vacant, right? Every day that the apartment's sitting vacant is money that you're losing. So that's why speed is so important when it comes to multifamily.
And renovation speed, which it's a big deal too. Turn those units fast.
I like the buying in bulk, because think about it. You know, if you're renovating 1 million apartments, right, or whatever it is, 100 apartments, and you have 5 apartment buildings, and you need to pick out a backsplash, and you want to change it every single time, that involves a lot of thought,
Yeah.
right? Like, I got to pick out this tile. You should be using that time to, you know, I don't know, figure out your game plan, how you're going to raise rents or whatever it may be, not picking out a backsplash, right? If it's a pretty backsplash, just do it everywhere. Use the same paint color everywhere. Use the same, you know, whatever it may be. That way you're not even thinking about that. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg wore a gray t-shirt for like 20 years, right? Because he didn't want to think about what he was going to wear. It's true. I think somebody else does that too now.
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
But Mark Zuckerberg, he's like,
And
once
Mark
he's been
Cuban.
hanging out with the UFC fighters, he's more cooler now. Like, he's got like,
He does.
he's got like
doing
chains,
jiu-jitsu,
his
man.
hair.
He's got
it's
some
like
swag
it's like
now.
the Dolphins head coach, you know? Have you guys seen him? His hair, glasses.
He's been getting some swag for sure. Definitely. I like that. That's why we don't have a lot of products. Like, you think, oh, I don't like this color. I was like, okay. That's the only color we have. Sorry, we don't have 300. But guess what? Like I said, we planned this out a year by testing in our own units. We tested it. We tested it. Did surveys, and we hired this designer to put this together, how people are going to feel and look. And so it's a package that works. I prove it to you that it works. I have data. You know what I mean? So if you follow this recipe.
And it took us over a year to develop 10 different products, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a overnight thing, you know?
You mentioned something there too, the buying from Madera, right? That can also be a con if you have that reputation. So I could think of, and I'm not going to say their name, but I can think of at least 2 owners that if they were selling a property, I probably wouldn't buy it from them because they have that bad of a reputation. And I know the renovations are going to be horrible. I know they don't do deferred maintenance. So you're either building a good brand or a shitty brand.
True. Next question.
So, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, I kind of want to. So, this question is for you, Neander.
Yeah.
In your presentation, you kind of touched on the presidency and stuff, and so my question kind of ties into that as well as the materials and sourcing. What is you all's, I guess, strategy for the future once the imposition of the tariffs kick in? Like, how are you all planning to restructure the processes that you all have?
Buying in China?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was a good question. We
That's
predicted
a
that
fantastic,
question.
yeah, we predict that question.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you want to answer?
Well, we all know that we have the tariff already from his first presidency, right? So we have a 25% tariff on all those items from China. So I believe, and I hope also, he's not going to go going crazy and increase this to 60% like he was saying on the campaign trail, right? Campaign is one thing. Actually, what he's going to do, I think, is going to be completely different. Because if he does that, who's going to end up paying for that? You know, the end user. And that will generate a huge inflation in this country. And that's going to be hugely unpopular. And I don't believe he's going to take that chance. right?
When you raise prices, somebody has to pay for it,
of
and it's
course,
going to be
that's
the end
definitely.
consumer.
So he's saying to tariff 60% on goods from China, which I really don't believe he's going to do that.
Yeah, and I've seen a trend of a lot of people taking manufacture to India, Mexico, and other parts. I'm not closed-minded that whatever makes sense. He put an alarm on it to let us go that it's time to end this.
It's the wife. In trouble.
But there's a minor concern for us right now.
It is. For example, a lot of people saying, okay, we're going to move over to Vietnam, we're going to move over to Thailand, and all those countries in Southeast Asia, right? So you got to bear in mind that most of those products that are manufactured in those countries, most of the raw material comes from China. So they only use a little bit of manufacture in those countries and place the label made in Vietnam, okay, to what? Avoid the tariffs. So we easily can do that. I've lived in China for 15 years. We do have our own operation over there. And we can easily also change to those countries, if things comes to worst, okay, which I don't believe.
Do you have any comment?
How do you guys, for like the large CapEx projects, how do you address carrying cost of inventory? Because I'm thinking about like flooring is one thing, but if Joey and I were to buy 100 refrigerators or whatever it may be, what are you doing with the carrying cost of that inventory?
That's a good question. Carry inventory, it's a big deal, right? We have another warehouse that's about 10 minutes from here. That's where we store stuff, and there's a cost attached to that, and operations, inventory, and all that stuff. But what you have to think about it's how much flow do you have? We do about 25 to 30 units per month. Right now, it's slowed down a little, but we're doing 20 to 30 units a month. There's a big turn, so we have a volume. When did our container came this year? Was it
the first one came May 4th.
We bought 40,000 square foot of floor. It's almost gone. You know what I mean? So all you have
next
to be
one is coming next week.
Yeah,
so.
It's the same thing. Like you have to be ready. The same thing when you about to open a management company. You got to be ready. You got to make sure that you have enough property to sustain to the cost of the construction. You have to know that you have enough to sustain that too. So everything, the same thing with buying in bulk. You need to make sure that you have this volume turn, because if you sit on inventory for too long, especially for refrigerators, man, they're huge. You know what I mean? And I don't do refrigerators because of the warranty of refrigerators. That's one of the things I don't mess. It's those kind of appliances. But we do have vent hoods and other stuff, appliances. Not a refrigerator, it's a headache.
Makes sense, yeah. It's one of those cons, right? Like I was talking about with the vertical integration that, yeah, that's one of the cons. That you got to have enough units to turn.
So that kind of segues me into my next question. So the vertical integration, when it comes down to choosing to go that route, like how exactly did it come about? Was it something that you all were pushed into because of the things that you were doing? Or did you just sit down, strategize, and say, we're going to start with this, then we're going to do that? Like, how was that?
I wish it was the latter, but it was more of a, look, the construction company came from getting burnt several times by contractors and finally having enough where it was like, no, we're not doing this anymore. We're going to bring it in-house. And then the management, sort of the same. We got sick of the third-party management and them not delivering, at least not to our standards. And we tried to work with that as long as we could, and we pushed them, and we did as much asset management as we possibly could, but we weren't getting what we wanted. So we were kind of pushed into it in a sense.
Yeah, it's based off the need, right? Like, I mean, I don't think we're that smart. We're like, we're gonna do this and then this and then this. Like, it's just like, oh man, we need this, so let's do it, you know. And it just kind of worked out.
I think we're being a little more strategic now with some of the stuff now.
I'm laughing because I relate.
I mean, the insurance kind of the same thing by need. I mean, we got sick of getting these ridiculous increases, so we wanted more control of that.
I've been through several of property managements, at least 4. Learn a bunch, but one of the things that I feel the most is the distance between us owners and the actually staff on the property, because ultimately they work in your property, but they're employees of the third-party management company. They're not your employees, you know? And one thing that I try to do here is just I'm building my own community with my staff. And I believe that translates into a good work in the property. So that is a big factor for me. And Dalia, total different opinion. She's going to complain about the numbers, like the numbers and payroll and put a lien on the property because it didn't pay a bill. And then what the hell was that? You know what I mean? So I'm more of culture side and more of building, she's laughing, building teams. And we had Destiny Williams, she's back there. She joined our team a few months ago. And she's a director of operation for Empire Multifamily. And when she was coming in the team, and then I was like, I'm sorry, Destiny, I did not look at your resume. And she was shocked for a little. I was like, well, because I want to know who you are. And I asked her one question: how is your leadership skills? How much of a leader? And I asked her also to define what is the difference between a leader and a boss. And we were very aligned, and she's here kicking ass, and we invest a lot of that culture on our company. It's not perfect, trust me, it's not. Sometimes I want to just go back to Brazil where my coffee farm is and just do coffee, man. You know what I'm saying? There ups and downs, I'm sure you guys have too. There's challenges. Now is a time that you can't splurge. You have to be conservative. Back in a few years ago, you can do mistakes in your journey of multifamily. The market will help you correct themselves out. Now you can't do this. Yeah. A small error or a small mistake that you don't care about a contract that you hooked in, for example, like protesting taxes and insurance brokers, get all that stuff, that can really torpedo your deal down the road.
Yeah. There's no room for error, or
the
good operators and the bad operators
Yes.
are being separated one way or another.
All right, we take two more questions, or if there's any, and then we're going to go ahead.
How do you find and vet your contractors?
My contractors, I'm the contractor, so I have to
The guys that work on your properties.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say, look, one, you want to vet them. You want to take your time. I see a lot of investors just hire a contractor because they're the cheapest, or they don't take the time to actually vet them and ask them the right questions. You know, how do you handle change orders? Let me see your agreement. Let me see your insurance. Like, it should not be something that's done one day to the next. Like, you should really get to know that contractor, especially if we're talking about a multifamily renovation where you're about to give them millions of dollars. It blows my mind how some people will just hire a contractor, and a lot of people don't. In Texas, you don't even have to be licensed. Like, somebody could literally just say, hey, I'm a contractor. There is no licensing for a general contractor. There is for the trades, for the plumber, electrician, and whatnot. So you got to be real careful. Ask for references. If they've got projects that you can go check out, go put some eyes on them. Call the references. Check the reviews online. See what that looks like. What else?
Do they call you back and do they text you back?
Yeah. What's their communication?
That's
like?
the biggest one. That's the biggest one for me.
How are they going to communicate with you throughout the project? You know, that's an important one too. Are they going to actually have a site supervisor, or are they just going to be sending these guys out there and letting them do whatever they want?
Are you following up with them, or are they following up with you?
Yeah.
So all of that happens when you're in the project, but before the project, how do you get them? How do you know which ones to hire, right? So I have this issue where they say I have 50 years of experience, but what they actually mean is that they've been working with someone else, and you add up 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 equals 50. So it's not really 50, it's like 10, right? And then they inflate their costs, or they actually come in under so they can win the project. And then once they start working, then they start adding pieces
so that's
to
where
it, right?
You got to review the scope of work, right? And you got to make sure that everything in writing, just like any other agreement, partnership, anything you do, it's got to be in writing. So if you review that scope of work and there's something missing, if it doesn't say that they're putting sink faucets in, then make sure that they put it in, that they're putting in. How much? Are you supplying it? Are they supplying it? If they're supplying it, what's the allowance for that fixture? I mean, it should not be a paragraph. Like, your scope of work should be very detailed and very obvious what they're doing and what they're not doing. Somebody gives you a paragraph and gives you a big number at the bottom, that's not your guy.
And you don't.
It sounds like that might be who you hired.
You don't need to sign a contract with them like that they're going to do all your units or all your renovations. Obviously, you know, for the big ticket items, let's say you got to do the whole roof. That's a one that you really need to vet out because it's a big high ticket item. But a guy that's just doing renovations on the property as it comes, as unit turns, for example, we bought one that needed to put washer and dryers. And at the time, we didn't have our construction. We had to hire contractors. And, you know, I'm in a favor of hiring smaller contractors that, as long as they have insurance and you put your name on their insurance, you know what I mean? It's not just like, let me see your insurance. No, put me on your insurance because there's a way we can do that. And you watch it, see how it works. And I have great success with that. It takes a little bit more managing to make sure the quality is standard, but there's a lot of people out there that are starting out, but they're great workers, great people that work, put the labor, they answer their phones, they're reliable. You can do that, you know, because one thing, if you need for example, a last-minute plumber or a last-minute electrician for something that happens on a property, the moment that they hear the word commercial to it, it's triple or quadruple the price. Okay? So, just careful.
And then last thing you mentioned, in your presentation, you had CAGs on there, but just question marks. Do you look at cap rate percentage when you look at properties?
Yeah, absolutely. We look at cap rate. We look at the cap rate projection. There's two data points that you can use, a CoStar or Yardi, that they're going to kind of, based on a lot of data they have, they kind of give you some type of guidelines. We're really under, just to be conservative. A change of a couple basis points on your cap rate would change your numbers dramatically. So, you know.
Yeah, they're
And
going.
what am I looking for, though, the percentage, though? When I'm looking to bring you a property to go into a deal with, what do I need
Lots
to?
of variables in that
Yeah,
question.
depends on the pocket. Depends, you know, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I would say at least a 6 and up. But still a lot of variables there as far as what asset class, where it's located, what the value add is. So maybe it's a lower cap, but there's a big opportunity for value add. So it just depends.
But if you're getting from a broker, you can ask him, let me see your CoStar. And then it's going to say there, what is the coming in and the exit cap rate too. Something you should look for.
Got room for one more question, or is that
Sure,
it?
let's do
All
it.
right,
One
one more
more.
question. Anybody hasn't had the chance to ask anything, or are we good? So if you're good, let's give it up to this four amazing folks. Whoa, hold up, hold up. I was kidding, just kidding. Eric, you're up.
Look at his back. You touch a paint or something in your back, bro.
The only question I had was, do you guys have a buying criteria that we can reference?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We're mainly looking for newer assets for the most part, being at least in 1990s and newer. And we're looking for something that the rents are not at the top of the market, right? There's some room to bump up on the rents. There's some room to add some other income. Maybe it's being poorly managed. We've had a lot of success buying straight from developers that are not operators. So they built it. They suck at operating it. They just want to get rid of it. We like those a lot. Markets, we love Dallas. Some pockets of Houston. We like Kansas City, South Dakota. What am I missing?
Northwest Arkansas.
Oh, yeah. That's one of our top ones, too. That's about it. I mean, there's other markets that we'll look at that we like, but I mean, those are our main ones.
Thank you.
Our Brian criteria is very, I'm actually manifesting this. It's 350 units somewhere in North Dallas and 1995 property. That's my buying criteria. I want to keep my properties a little bit closer, but there's tons of opportunity, you know, other states, other markets, which, you know, And that's the fact about what I said about leveraging others. I will leverage other people like those guys that already been doing this in other states to, you know, go with them. But I necessarily will go there for myself. But that's definitely. Guys, thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate you.
Thank you all.
Let's give it up to the four amazing folks.
There's some food and some drinks, network, and this is the power of being here. Is not screw the speakers, man. Just kidding.
All right, let's mingle. If you haven't got the chance to talk to any of them in here, make sure you shake some hands, make some connections, what this is all about. Thank you so much for sharing some of your time with us. Follow Elevate on Instagram, follow Multifamily Empire on Instagram so you can be up to date with events just like this. Thank you all.